I'm here with Lance Orton. We are in CityTeam's new building here. You guys just opened it up a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, literally started moving in human bodies last week. And I think we have gotten all 56 of our residential recovery program guys and graduates from the Grand Avenue building in-house.
Awesome, yeah, and people are truly living here right outside this office. The capacity will ultimately be 110 folks here.
110 beds off over 3 programs, so we'll have 30 emergency shelter. From there, my own story, entered shelter 7 years ago, didn't know I needed something beyond that other than I didn't want to sleep in a tent. And then from that, we've got 40 beds on this floor that are the residential recovery program. And then the third floor, which is the most exciting, we don't have at Grand Avenue, is 40 beds of long-term sober living for those who have gone through and graduated the program. They have a job, they're working, saving money, just not quite ready to transition out into market rate or affordable housing.
Yeah. So we're doing this whole series of videos just 3 or 4 days ago in Portland. The mayor and the chief of police, who I did another video with, are enforcing our existing laws for the first time in a decade around no camping on sidewalks and no open drug use and that sort of thing. And Lance and I, it's Tuesday morning, and we just got out of an orientation session that we do every Tuesday, Friday for We All Have a Name. And so if you can give us a 1-minute version of what you cover in orientation in terms of the Josh story,
yes,
and then parlay that into what you hope to see in partnership with the police on the streets here in Old Town, that we do kind of walkabouts. Well, you do it Tuesday and Friday with We All Have a Name. Night Strike is Thursday night, and now Union Gospel Mission, as part of the coalition for We All Have a Name, is starting to do Thursday lunch as well.
Yep,
so
you got it.
Anyway,
okay,
yeah.
Orientation. So We All Have a Name started, it really started about a year ago this time of year. I was showing up to this building before construction had started. It was completely empty, and I was working out of the ground floor just to have some quiet space. And literally every single day in the same doorway was the same guy camped out. He had a wheelchair, he had tarps wedged up into the door. He had the little fire sometimes going, trash spread out on the sidewalk, and carving in the side of our shiny new building. And I had engagement with this guy every single day, and to the point where sometimes it escalated into me having to call chat team or PSR or the police, and he would throw things, and it got, just a mess. And so after 3 weeks of going through this, my compassion meter was like, the tank was empty. And I decided to take a different approach finally. Showed up, got down on one knee, and just asked him his name. And he said, Josh. And I said, Josh, I've got these vouchers, these CityTeam shelter vouchers. 7 years ago, I was given one of these vouchers. I was homeless, addicted, went into a shelter. From there, found out there was a recovery program. Would you be willing to go into the shelter, take a voucher? And he said, what would that look like? And so we had this 5-minute conversation, shared his story, learned his name, and he packed up all his stuff, cleaned up his trash very peacefully, and I never saw him again. I don't know if he went into the shelter or not, but not really the point. The point was just engaging with this individual, learning his story, learning his name changed the whole dynamic. And so the genesis of We All Have a Name came from that experience, that everyone on our street does have a name, they have a story, just like I did 7 years ago. And what if we did that kind of outreach in the city every single day in the morning, and then coupled with the mayor and his enforcement plan, that sort of has come to fruition 4 days ago now. And so we really wanted to be a frontline engagement before law enforcement comes out and engages with these individuals, because we don't want to put people experiencing homeless in jail. Like, that's not going to be helpful to anyone. And we can't not enforce the laws of our city, because if the rights of our houseless community outweigh the rights of every other citizen, the things are out of whack.
Well, but even I think it's a win-win in terms of it's safer and better for those in the houseless community in terms of like getting the services they need instead of denying those services. And then there's safety concerns for them and for everyone else.
Sure. And from doing outreach personally, going out on the streets, something I learned real quickly is that a lot of our friends on the street don't even know of all the services that are available. They don't know of the reunification plan that we can send them home if they are stranded here, or they don't know that there's the Oasis 4 blocks from here that they can get laundry services and connected to housing services and all the things. Also, I learned recently that the inflow of people showing up to Portland homeless far exceeds at the rate at which we can shelter and house individuals. And so if we don't get out there on the streets and start sharing with learning who these people are, learning what they need, and connecting them to the services, the next step is engagement with law enforcement. And we certainly, again, don't want to see people in jail.
So it seems, to those of us in the business community, it seems like a no-brainer to enforce really basic laws. But in your world and the nonprofit world, it is somewhat controversial that you actually want not only compassion but also accountability. Like it seems like others of your peers are way heavy on compassion only with no accountability. At least that's seems like a perspective. So I like, will you get some backlash from taking a strong stance on this?
I mean, what I have learned, I and we are going to take backlash no matter what position you take. That's just sort of the polarization and the politicalness of the houseless crisis that we are in is just so extreme. And so yes, there will be some pushback, but I think the thing that I would say about that is that we have to have compassion first. Like that's the most important. As someone who was formerly homeless and addicted, I didn't know what I needed, and if it wasn't for the stepping stone of shelter first, then connected to residential recovery program, then connected to housing, like that's a pathway that I know that works, and we do that very well here at CityTeam. So I am okay with the enforcement because I know that there are pathways that, other than jail. I don't believe that we need to be put in jail, but I also believe that we do have to enforce the laws, because I can tell you right now there is a lot of people out there that don't want help and don't want services and just want to live homeless, and I don't know that is something that we should be embracing here in Portland, right? And so there's compassion, but then there's also just permissiveness, and again, we've seen the pendulum swing really, really far. So yes, there'll be some backlash, but I think that as long as we are actually connecting people to the services they need and walking them through that continuum of care all the way to self-sufficiency, that's a working model.
All right, mic drop. Thanks.